think the vision work that we have done this year has really focused Everitt and the work that we're doing so that we're more of a community of learners as teachers and professionals, and I think it's unified us with a common goal.
I see that we are a much more focused staff in the discussions and conversations that we have, that they all root to essential learnings and the PLC questions.
I think that the vision work is something that's given the staff as a whole something to unify and kind of connect people. And it's also been really helpful for me individually because I can see connections in the vision work with what I'm working on every day.
I also see higher accountability, both for teachers and for students, and a little more explicit with the students with 8th period. And I think that seeing that accountability and that students are responding to it, and realizing the interconnectedness and interplay of the 3 pillars of the vision, that the engagement and the rigor highly depend on having accountability, but there's nothing to hold them accountable to if we don't have rigor. And so that they are all interconnected, and I think living through this year so far, I've seen that far more than I did in August.
For me, the conferences were an opportunity to finally understand what the PLC was.
So one of the things that they talked about was to think of a kid that you would take a bullet for. And I don't have any children of my own, but I have a niece that I adore. And that really hit home with me because knowing that I have a niece that I truly care about, if I think of the kids like my niece, then I can't let any of them fall through the cracks.
As a new teacher, it was something that I had no familiarity with. And going to the conferences made it really clear what it was. It wasn't just a bunch of buzzwords. It was a structure and steps that you could follow to help improve your teaching and your instruction so that you could help kids become more successful.
I think the PLC process is going to impact kids because I think teachers as a whole are going to be focused on the most important work. And I think focusing on the most important work, I think it allows students to be clear about the learning objectives and what they need to learn. And it also, with the PLC, it will allow us to work with kids that maybe haven't reached the essential learnings and push those kids that have exceeded the essential learnings.
So one of my favorite comments that I heard at the PLC conference, and I don't remember which speaker it was, but he was asking the question, if we truly believe that all of our kids can succeed and that they deserve to succeed, what would that look like if we really meant it? Not if it was just a discussion, not if it was just a meeting or a training or a PD that you went to. If you really meant it, that every kid can succeed and would succeed and should succeed, what does that mean?
The conversations and discussions that we have as a staff being much more focused around student learning rather than what we've taught. And I see much greater collaboration working around the essential learnings and what students do know and what they still need work on. And I think the other, maybe even bigger aha, is the idea that I think a lot of times as teachers, when we're managing a large caseload of students, we kind of go hands off and say, well, you didn't do the work, well, that sucks for you, well, you get a low grade. And the reality is that they don't have the life wisdom to realize that the choices they're making have incredibly large implications, especially as they're nearing high school. And that it's our responsibility as adults in the situation to help create structures and foster an environment that allows them to make better choices.
The kids here, just having the diverse learners, the diverse backgrounds, and all of their little stories, I just love to get to know the kids personally and academically.
So teachers in school, for me, represents opportunity. And so I want to be able to provide that for our kids here, or for any kids.
Was that it is a whole school effort and that all teachers, all staff are on the same page with the same values and same philosophies.
I think it's a common focus, but I also think it really streamlines and gives kids an opportunity to connect with the essential learnings that we're requiring of them.
Say I became a teacher because I really believe in the power of education to open doors.
Within that, there's a lot of celebrating both of students and of each other as the adults in the building. And I think the other, maybe even bigger aha, is the idea that I think a lot of times as teachers, when we're managing a large caseload of students, we kind of go hands off and say, well, you didn't do the work, well, that sucks for you, well, you get a low grade, and the reality is that they don't have the life wisdom to realize that the choices they're making have incredibly large implications, especially as they're nearing high school, and that it's our responsibility as adults in the situation to help create structures and foster an environment that allows them to make better choices.